Okay, these are the notes for Pure Chapter 1.6, Rationalising the Denominator. First skill is rationalising a single term denominator. Here we have root 8 is our denominator, so we multiply by that denominator on the bottom and on the top of the fraction. This has the overall effect of not changing the fraction, but adapting the numerator and denominator. So we use our rule of surds when multiplying surds to get root 16. And then if we are multiplying root 8 by itself, it's squaring root 8 to give us just the number 8 in the denominator. We can cancel the factors of 4, leaving us with a 2 in the denominator, and 3 over 2 is our simplified form. When we have two terms in the numerator, we just have to be careful and make sure that we use brackets. So we are still using the denominator surd, root 3, and we are multiplying top and bottom by that. But when it comes to expanding that bracket on the top, it's important that you're multiplying both of the terms by root 3. As a result, you get the numerator as you see it, and the denominator is just the surd squared, which removes the square root. Simplified form on the right hand side, the key points are we are looking for the single surd in the denominator and we are multiplying the top and the bottom of the fraction by this and simplifying. Now when we have two terms in the denominator, that's the second skill we're going to be looking at today. So what I do is I take my denominator and I write it down with one exception. I change the sign in between the two terms. This gives me a positive instead of a negative. Now, the reason I've done this is for the reason of dots, the difference of two squares. If I expand that bracket, my two terms in the middle are disappearing, and in fact, I'm going to be left with 1 squared minus 5 squared. If you look at the two brackets we're multiplying with the denominator, it is the second part of dots. It's the factorised form. And it's just 1 squared minus 5 squared gives us minus 4 squared. So there is a shortcut there we can take. We still have to expand the bracket at the top using the 5, but that's pretty straightforward. With our second example, again, we're doing the same thing. We're changing the sign, but otherwise the entire denominator remains the same. This is the factorised form of the difference of two squares. So I could just write down the square root of 3 squared minus 1 squared, which is 3 minus 1. So my denominator just becomes 2. In effect, we're not writing down the middle two terms that cancel out, the plus root 3 and the minus root 3. The numerator is actually quite a difficult, nasty combination of surds, and none of those can be added together because they are all different and none of them simplify. So writing it in increasing values, starting with our integers 2, we have root 2, 2 root 3 and root 6 all along the top. It is the incorrect thing to do to try and combine those in any way. So the key points are, look for the surd in the denominator, change the sign between the two terms. So if it's negative, it becomes positive. If it's positive, it becomes negative. And you multiply the top and the bottom of the fraction by this.